Hello and welcome into In the Pocket Across the Pond, the UK NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. I've been told to mention Christmas because it's Christmas week on the pod. We're going to put a Christmas twist onto everything, whether you like it or not, whether it's planned or not, whether it makes sense or not. But as usual, we're going to be reacting to Week 15, looking at, unfortunately, a bunch more injuries. Looking forward to Week 16, though, mainly. We're framing it around Christmas, past, present and future. I'm telling you that now because that narrative is going to come and go throughout the episode. But we hope you enjoy it. We hope you're still in your fantasy playoffs. And we hope you have a good Christmas. Shall we get it started straight off? Charles Dickens style, looking at Christmas past. The previous week's games.
Okay.
It's a Christmas episode.
Okay. But it's not last Christmas, is it?
No, but come on. You know what I'm going for.
Can I, since we're on Christmas past, let's actually give a shout out to a Christmas game past. Remember when Alvin Kamara scored like 5 touchdowns on Christmas Day?
I do, because I was playing against him.
There's a Christmas past throwback for you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That was great. Mm-hmm. The Cowboys didn't play this week. Cowboys 13, 33 Bills. Let's start there. Sharples, you're about to burst, I can see.
Luke, can I just stop you there? That's a massive lie. You said 33 Bills, it was 31.
Okay, sorry.
Which makes it miles better reading.
Get in!
Yes.
I don't know what there is to say, boys, really. I mean, you know, it was a good spirited effort from our Cowboys. You know, obviously we got some unbelievable weapons on offense, some really great pieces on defense. It's just, you know, sometimes the better teams just come in and beat us, and you know, I think as Cowboy fans, we have to recognise that as much as we huff and we puff and we blow down the sticks houses and the hay houses, we're just not going to get over the brick houses. You know, we don't have any heavy machinery. We don't have the coaching knowledge to be able to get over there. We've got an insane owner, and you know but we're making a bloody good go of it. So
Are you
I
quite
think we should
done?
pat ourselves on the
Are
back.
you quite done?
You asked me my opinions as a Cowboys fan. So
Okay, right. I also said 13 Cowboys. It was 10 Cowboys, so that makes it just as bad as it was. Worse than it was. Yeah, the Bills absolutely stomped the Cowboys. Got after Dak, suffocated him defensively, and then on offense, he just sort of imposed the will. Ran all over it. You know, Josh Allen attempted 7 passes.
he wasn't very good.
No, he wasn't. They didn't need to throw the ball.
Well, as this is a fantasy football podcast, and we only talk about fantasy football on this podcast, not real life. So we'll park whatever that real life football debate was right there, and say congratulations if you had James Cook on your fantasy team, because you probably won and you were absolutely loving that game.
Mm-hmm. True.
But in terms of real life, embarrassing loss for the Cowboys. They got just totally outplayed.
But this is like it just shows, right? This isn't anything to do with the game, but we were briefly speaking about this sort of stuff just before we started recording. How fickle the media is, because with Dak Prescott, he has one bad game and all of a sudden he drops out of the MVP race. He'll, you know, if he throws 300 yards and 3 touchdowns next week, he'll be the front runner again. The Bills, you know, you had all these stupid analysts on NBC or whatever. It's like, no, you can see the Bills have 10% chance of getting in the playoffs now. And now it's all of a sudden, oh, if the Bills win the rest of the games, they've got they've got the home field advantage and they've won the division. It's like, let's just wait until it's done. Let's you know. I mean, I will preface. I know we do a segment called "Worst Team in the League." It's called that as a joke. Like, it's called that because, that's how fickle it is. Like, it changes week to week. This was a bad loss by the Cowboys. I don't think this means the Cowboys aren't going to get in the playoffs and aren't going to have a decent playoff run. I think they are. I think the Cowboys, when push comes to shove, are still a much better team than the Bills.
Yeah, I mean,
shut up, Sharples.
They've got the same record as the Dolphins, and everyone gushes over the Dolphins all the time.
Yeah. That's enough about that, though. No yeehaw this week. No yeehaw this week. Let's move on. Broncos 17, Lions 42. Lions kicking on a bit. They've been wavering a little bit, but they were scoring at will in this game. Again, like the Cowboys, another team who seems to play better at home, specifically indoors if you're Jared Goff. But, yeah, really good win for the Lions. What do you reckon, Al?
I was surprised because I thought the Broncos are going in there with a really good defense. The Lions haven't been playing particularly well for a few weeks, and the Broncos were kind of one of the hottest teams in the league. And yeah, they just put it to them. Absolutely put it to them. Fantasy pieces were kind of ticking. When the Lions, they're like the Dolphins. When they're on, they're really on, and they play really well. You just want to see them on against a Cowboys, against a Bills.
Next, we will in week 17.
But I want to see them do this against a Ravens, like they couldn't do. They got completely stomped by the Ravens. So yeah, when the Lions are playing like this, it's an absolute joy to watch them. So I don't think I'm surprised at all, because we've seen these mini kind of ups and downs multiple times for the Lions just in this season alone. So, yeah. But like I said, I feel like I was surprised that the Broncos didn't put up a bit more of a fight.
True. Sharples, just touching on a team Al mentioned then, I was going to mention this other game in the same breath. Jets 0. I didn't mean to bring this up with you, but Jets 0, 30 Dolphins. Dolphins, as Al mentioned, like the Lions, putting the foot on the accelerator again without Tyreek Hill. What do you reckon? Was this the Dolphins sort of showing the Jets a little bit of mercy? That it was only 30?
No, obviously, the fantasy gods heard me last week with my... have you ever seen Wall-E?
Yes.
Yeah. There's that small little green shoot that grows out from amongst the wasteland and the cubes of garbage. That was my... not fantasy expectation, sort of real life hopes and dreams for the Jets, that maybe there was a small sign of life there. Obviously, we know Aaron Rodgers wasn't there, but they put up some points against Houston. I thought maybe we could end the season kicking, and it was taken away from me. In quite a horrible manner. Jets stink.
Yeah, correct.
Dolphins were good, but on cruise control. I wasn't following too much on the ESPN app because obviously I had a bye week this week, so I didn't really need to follow it. But Tua got like 12 points and then by halftime didn't do anything. I'm pretty sure they took him out to give him a rest. It shows what happens with the Jets when the defense doesn't turn up to try and save them. The offense can't do a thing, and I think the Dolphins are looking for a little bit of payback. Because I think the Jets actually put up quite a fight against them last time on the defensive front. I remember I'd accidentally not picked up a defense, so I played the Jets and I got like 13 points. So I think Mike McDaniel probably took that personally, racked up 30, but then you're right, take out the starters, it's done. It's like it's Homer Simpson beating up the Hamburglar. Stop, he's already dead.
Well, the week after Zach Wilson's best career game as well. Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah.
Jets are terrible.
True. Ravens 23, 7 Jaguars. This one was I didn't think it'd be as much of a...
This has been coming for
sure thing. Yeah, it has.
In terms of the Jaguars side of the ball, I feel this has been coming for a while.
The Jaguars' defense fit into that category of teams that we talk about every week, whose defense is a liability. They really are. If you look at the numbers, the Jags have, bottom 5 pass defense, bottom 5 rush defense, all that sort of stuff. And and I don't think their offense isn't near as explosive as a Dolphins or a Lions or an Eagles on the day to sort of, to sort of balance out those defensive struggles, I don't think. What do you think of the Ravens in this one, Al?
Oh, the Ravens are great. The Ravens are great. Lamar Jackson's, as usual, playing really good, kind of clean football. I just want to get his numbers up dead quick from this game. But
they're just clean.
Super impressive. The defense is elite. They're getting people involved. Interception there, but he's getting the ball out to players. They're getting the running game going. I suppose the managing games more. If you look at the year when Lamar first got there, and he second year, he kind of took the league by storm. They were one of those teams, the Ravens, that they were kind of like completely Jekyll and Hyde, up and down. They were super fun to watch, but I bet as a fan you never knew what to expect. They're just, you know what they are? They're a good version of the Falcons. They just suffocate teams. They take control of games, but they have the players and the coaching staff to win the games. I'm gonna stop it at that. They're a good version of if the Falcons were a good team.
Are we on a collision course with Super Bowl 47 replay? 49ers Ravens. Do you think? Sharples?
Probably.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think the Ravens look better than the Chiefs, certainly. I think the Ravens could probably grind it out against the Dolphins. Ravens Bills. I don't know what it is about the Bills. I still think in a playoff match they're really tough to beat. But certainly the Ravens are higher. I think higher. I'm higher on the Ravens than I am the Chiefs. Which again, Mahomes will probably rock up and make me look silly. But I certainly wouldn't be surprised if that's how it ended up. Although I must say, at the start of the season, I would have been, because I still hadn't seen Lamar proper grind out a full season of production yet. And to be fair, that's what he's done this year. Obviously, it's not quite the MVP season a few years back where he was just running on everyone, but it's a more mature, and he's also displaying the arm, which is what everyone said. We know he can run. Can he throw it? Turns out he can. So it's exactly what I wanted from Lamar this season. It's been really good.
Absolutely.
But
I don't think they'll regret giving him that money as it stands.
No, but it was nice to see Lamar seemingly finally run the ball 97 yards this week.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean in terms of the whole season picture. It's nice to see him as a bit more of a versatile quarterback. Jaguars on a 3-game slide, by the way.
Certainly.
8-6.
I know.
Colts, same record as the Colts and Texans. Who'd have thought that a month ago?
That's crazy, that AFC South, yeah. I mean, I just want to touch on what you mentioned, Sharples, about, I think, the Ravens are the sort of the class of the AFC at the minute, the 49ers are NFC, but I think it's, so open outside of that. Who is going to be in the conference championship game? Aside from, let's say it's going to be the Ravens and the 49ers. Who are they playing in the conference championship games?
I mean, I think despite the Eagles' recent woes, I think the Eagles will be there. And as much as I like to poke fun, I think the Cowboys will be there in the NFC. I think that's still the three-headed monster in the NFC. And then, AFC... I believe in the Dolphins. I think the Ravens will be there. And then I think Bills, Chiefs. I think it's going to be some... Those are the teams where if it's anyone outside of those teams, it would be a surprise for me. But to tell you exactly who it'll be, I just can't, because it seems like a team will put a run together, and then like we've seen with the Eagles, I mean, just completely lay an egg. So it's gonna be an interesting one.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Eagles 17, 20 Seahawks on Monday Night Football. Drew Lock at quarterback as well for the Seahawks. Even though there was a bunch of these posts on ESPN and NFL he's active. Geno Smith is active, and he didn't play. Didn't need him. Do you know that? I think it's the seventh Monday Night Football game in a row now that the underdog has won.
I saw that. Yeah.
And the Ravens are currently underdogs against the 49ers.
That'd still be a turn up for the Bucks.
That's
it's in San Francisco.
But yeah,
Boxing Day.
What's going on with the Eagles, Al?
We'll have to catch that 1 a.m. in a pub, lads. Boxing Day. Oh no, it's 1 a.m. Christmas Day.
1 a.m. Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I don't think Horwich shows the NFL anyway.
At 1 in the morning.
We could get it on. What was the question, sorry?
What's going on with the Eagles?
Complacency,
Okay.
maybe. It's a weird season in which you woke up and you saw that the Seahawks had won, and it was like, oh, that's not even the weirdest notification I've woke up to, wakened it up to this kind of game week. By far, not the weirdest. So, not that surprising. I think it's just complacency, yeah. This idea that all season they've been grinding out these wins. They've been grinding out these wins that maybe they should have lost, and like kind of the decks just come kind of crumbling down now after they just kind of get shown up by the Niners.
Yeah, you know what, I was. This, for some reason, this is the first time throughout this Eagles sort of like bad patch that I thought maybe they're missing the coordinators, who are both, certainly Steichen at the Colts. They've got some of him there, but even Jonathan Gannon, like we always say every week, the Cardinals play people pretty hard, and I think they're going to be a good team if they have a good draft and get the right pieces. Maybe Philadelphia are missing those two guys.
Yeah.
Like, they've both shown that they're capable coaches for now. I think, is Matt Patricia the defensive coordinator at the Eagles? Like,
He can't be.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's as simple as that, but there's something afoot.
I mean, did they start the season?
They were really great.
8-0?
I think it was something like 7-0, 8-0, something like that. And the Eagles were 10-1.
10-1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. They're dropping off at the worst time to drop off. Really. Yeah.
The Jenga tower has fallen.
It has.
That's the analogy that I meant to use. The kind of pulling out pieces and starting from last season. And then as you go further and further up, with these wins are getting more and more kind of tight, and the performances are worse, but they're still grinding out wins. And then, the Niners just completely knocked them for 6, I think.
And Nick Sirianni, it couldn't be happening to a humbler head coach in the league. That guy's a clown.
Did you not see him cry? Did you not see him cry, though?
Great head coach, obviously, but a bit of a clown.
Yeah.
Elsewhere in the league, Chargers 21, 63 Raiders.
Oh, God.
There we go.
Wasn't
That was the most surprising. That was the most surprising one of the weekend, because it's like, how do you go from scoring nothing to scoring 63 in 4 days?
It's the volatility that comes with playing a bad team and being in limbo as in terms of who your head coach is. Like, it gives. I think you were mentioning it last week, Al, or maybe we were talking about it in private, but like about how sometimes sort of good. I think you were actually talking about Man City. You were talking about Man City and about how Pep Guardiola whittles the game down so that there's
there's no chaos, unpredictability
in
the game, because Manchester City and Guardiola teams have this structure and this format and almost this rehearsal that they play against. So as soon as they get the ball back, they move into position, and we're eliminating all chaos from the game of football, which is completely chaotic and unpredictable from second to second. But that's what I suppose Guardiola tries to do, at least, yeah.
Yeah. So when you have a team like the Raiders, who obviously the interim head coach is doing an all right job, but that's an interim head coach, so the games can go this way. But yeah, wasn't Brand Staley a defensive coach before he went to the Chargers?
He ain't anymore.
A defensive coach who liked to mess around at the most inappropriate times on offense. So
listen, I mean,
what you will.
What's that guy's record on fourth and down? Fourth
Can't
down,
be
fourth and
I'm
one.
pretty sure it went wrong every time last
Probably
year.
very bad.
Well, I knew it. I texted saying that he's not going to survive the weekend. There's no way he's going to survive the weekend.
And he didn't. Obviously, we'll touch on that a little bit in news, but he didn't. Brian Staley's gone. We said this last year, I think. 24-24 was his overall record with that.
It would have been like 12-12 last year.
With that quarterback, with those weapons on offense, with undeniably very talented players on defense, that record is atrocious.
And the thing is, it's only going to get worse for them. I can't remember the exact number, but I'm pretty sure that about 50% of their salary is taken up by 5 guys. So Herbert, Bosa, Khalil Mack, Keenan Allen. Don't think they've paid Austin Eckler yet. Someone else.
I was going to say, do they have a partnership with a burger franchise?
Always a smart way to build a team.
Very smart. Very, very smart.
Whoever takes the GM job, really, I think it's a bit of a poison chalice. But hey, lovely stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly. Elsewhere in the league, Buccaneers were a great win at Lambeau Field. Rams looking really good. I think those two teams are going to be dangerous in the playoffs. Browns still trucking on. Kevin Stefanski, Coach of the Year.
Keep on trucking.
He's won with 4 different starting quarterbacks.
Cubes.
That is fantastic coaching, really. Falcons are bad. Steelers are also bad. Oh. Now, again, this is a bit.
We're not going to talk about it, are we?
This is a bit of a misleading stat.
I'm talking about the Falcons. We're not going to talk about it.
No.
Because there are pretty heavy fantasy implications for what a certain Mr. FedEx Jr. did at the weekend.
Yeah.
Can we talk about it for a second?
Go on.
8 opportunities for Bijan Robinson. 0. Whatever, who cares, fantasy points. What? He did that on purpose. He must have done that on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, probably.
Because they lost against the worst team in the NFL as well.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Yeah,
do you reckon when Bijan probably first turned up to training camp, he saw Kyle Pitts, and it was like the scene in Get Out, when he takes the photo, and he's like, "Get out!" Like that.
Yeah,
because if not, I mean, my God, what's going on there? What is going on? It's just a black hole for talent.
Yeah. I know all these. Yeah, and just wasting first round picks.
Yeah,
completely wasting them.
Steelers are also bad. This is a bit of a misleading stat, but since firing Matt Canada, they are 1-3 and averaging 2 points per game less. That's an asterisk, though. They have had Mitch Trubisky in and backup quarterback, so that's all. It's not as fun. It's not as fun a stat I did see that stat getting thrown around social media, and I was like, "Oh, that's class." And then when you remember who's been at quarterback, and so it's like, okay, fair enough.
A bigger part of that.
Yeah. And just one word is there a more nothing team in the league than the Saints?
No, I've been saying this for ages. Saints are nothing.
Worst team in the league then? Al?
The Falcons.
Because
they're the worst team to watch. They're often the worst team to have fantasy football pieces in. And they just lost against the worst team in the league in the Panthers. So, Falcons.
Nice. Sharples?
Cowboys.
What?
Jets.
Yeah. I mean, I was a bit conflicted this week. I put Chargers defense, Falcons offense, but yeah, it's the Jets. Plus my rule being that if you score 0 points, you're the default worst team. Yeah. Side note on the Jets, now out of playoff contention, so give me a good reason why Aaron Rodgers should step on the field this season. Because if he does, it is purely ego. Because there is no reason for him to come out and risk re-injury. If he comes out, it's purely his ego doing that.
I've got one.
Go on.
Vibes.
It's true.
You could be like, oh yeah, trying to get a rapport with the team, this, that, and the other. Not if you've tore your Achilles the same season.
Fair, I think I saw him backpedaling on his latest Pat McAfee appearance and saying something about difference between being healthy and being 100%.
Right, I thought you meant they showed a video of him like running back.
I would be like, see? I thought you meant he was pedaling backwards on a bike. Yeah. Like, look at me,
look at this Achilles go.
It was lots of videos of him standing on his toes, going, Look at that.
Yeah,
See?
yeah. Not buying it with Al.
I'm going to go... I wanted to go a bit different with these this week. I'm going to go the Dolphins.
Whoa.
Because they beat another awful team. They've got the record... True. The record is up there with the best teams in football, and I don't believe that they can compete with a 49ers, a Ravens. So I'm going to go Dolphins because, yeah, I feel like a 30-0 win that puts you 10-4. You're thinking this is a Super Bowl caliber team, and I personally just don't think they are.
Okay. No, interesting take on it.
Yeah.
Wrong, but interesting. Sharples.
Well, I kind of felt like you two might think this one was shooting fish in the barrel, although obviously, Lou is flying the flag for alienating our fan base. But I just had to remind people that the Panthers stink and the Panthers are... I'm
Stinky,
not buying
smelly.
it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's the correct answer.
I know. You'd think as the official UK Panthers podcast, we'd
Gotta be realistic.
Yeah.
I didn't put that though. I put the Raiders, which I know they scored 63 points, but they scored 0 points last week. So, for all the reasons I mentioned before, it's a team in flux. Anything can happen, especially when you're against the Chargers. Impressive victory, Al.
Buccaneers. Thought that was a really impressive win, real grind out win for the Buccaneers, who are on a bit of a trajectory to the playoffs, to be honest with you. Mayfield's playing really well. He's got some stud weapons. And the Packers, not the easiest team, not especially to go into Lambeau as well and beat them. I just thought that was a super impressive win.
Sharples.
Bills, shut you two up.
I also put the Bills. Yeah, really good. Let's move on, though. Plays of the week. Let's start with the nice list. Yeah?
Very good. Very
good.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Quarterback, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Aidan O'Connell, Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts. I was surprised when I saw Hurts on that list.
2 CDs, though. Two rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
This is why I would be hesitant to play my beautiful DeAndre Swift in the fantasy playoffs because he got a bit burned last night.
A little bit. A wee bit. Running back, Christian McCaffrey. CMC, I've got another 3-letter abbreviation for Christian McCaffrey. MVP.
CMC MVP, it's got a good ring to it.
Yeah?
Yeah. DMV.
DMV. DVD.
RVD.
DVD because he...
Rob Van Dam.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was talking about because he's a movie, is what people say.
He's a movie.
Who says that?
Who said that?
Me.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
He's a movie.
That's why it's rubbish.
It's a... Whatever. James Cook. Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
Ty Chandler.
Ooh.
And Karen.
Kaz. Quick shout out to our brother, because he's an idiot, and played Javonte Williams over Ty Chandler in the league.
I spoke about this to him, and it's like I would have also definitely played Javonte Williams out of those two, and would have been wrong.
Both idiots.
That's my point.
Because I've got hindsight.
That is my point.
Because I've got hindsight.
Toilet bowl.
Yeah.
I've got hindsight, and I'm a genius.
Yeah. Wide receiver, Addison, Waddle, McLaurin, Godwin, Cup.
It's weird that, when the Commanders play objectively bad, they have been competitive in games this season, but in a game where they did play objectively bad and the scoreline makes it look closer than that game actually was, that's the game that they actually have, a relevant fantasy piece.
Well, if you call it the game, a lot of those McLaurin points came in in the second half. Fourth quarter, sorry, Sam Howell had been taken out of the game because it was sort of out of reach, and Jacoby Brissett came in.
Yes,
and he started sort of slinging it. He went 6 of 6 or 7 of 7.
8 for 10, 1, 2, 4,
yeah,
2 TDs.
Literally, he started slinging it. He sort of almost, no joke, got him back in the game, really, and it was only because they needed an onside kick, but yeah.
Jacoby.
Really.
Loving it.
All right stuff there. Reading that list as well, that's we're back to, 2020 here. McLaurin, Godwin, Cup. Whoa.
I have to say, since I started playing fantasy, I don't know about you boys, but has there been any more of an enigma than Terry McLaurin? Like every year going into draft, it's like, oh, this is the year. Oh, he's a steal this year. And I know he's a good player. It's just like, when am I actually going to see it on a consistent basis? It's getting to the point now. He must be pushing 30 or getting towards it. It's like, will we ever see?
I bet he's about 26, 27 because he did.
Oh, is it? Okay, fair enough.
He did come into the league young, and he has kind of been the guy in Washington since like his second game in the league.
Yeah, and like McLaurin was always the guy who like you wanted him to have a better quarterback. Really, he always got it done with poor quarterbacks. Obviously, Sam Howell, we spoke about how he doesn't have a fantasy relevant wide receiver when he throws so many yards, but that's the enigma this year. Tight end, Sam Laporta, again, the new best tight end in football.
Mm-hmm.
David Njoku, another really nice week. Trey McBride, Hunter Henry, Isaiah Likely. Some really like nice names here in terms of like the fantasy stars of the future. Speaking of Christmas future, McBride, Laporta, Addison, Gibbs, Cook, Purdy,
O'Connell.
Any performances stand out to you guys this week, Sharples?
I had CMC on my roster, so I can't look past 41.7 points.
Amazing performance,
yeah. I thought it was nice to see the wide receiver twos kind of showing up in the fantasy playoffs. That being Addison and Waddle and T. Higgins. Not so much Devonta Smith. You're highlighting Chris Godwin there as well. I completely forgot. I'm talking about, do you know those kind of the three wide receiver twos, the three twos, the Waddle, Higgins, Smith at the start of the year that got drafted really high. Waddle, good game, albeit no hill. Higgins, good game. Chase got banged up, could miss a few games. T. Higgins could be in play. And Jordan Addison looking like you can play him even with Jefferson there. So yeah, I kind of like seeing that depth at wide receiver. But of course, yeah, nice game from Chris Godwin. If you look through Chris Godwin's stats this year, not been pretty at all. It's really not been pretty, so it's nice to see him kind of kicking on.
Yeah, absolutely. Another wide receiver too had a great game, Cooper Kupp as well. Puka Nakua's team.
Oh, that's blasphemy.
The naughty list.
Oh, no.
Dak Prescott. Saquon Barkley, Stephon Diggs. Now, again, this is another misleading thing, but I think it's quite funny.
Oh, Barkley.
You know, since Trayvon Diggs sort of chirped up in defence of his brother, you know, guess what wide receiver rank Stephon Diggs is since the following week?
Well, I can see it, so I won't guess.
I mean, it has to be bad, or else you wouldn't be saying it. 24?
43.
Wow.
But like I said, that is misleading. His target share is still ridiculous and off the charts. He's just sort of not been on the same page as Josh Allen, which
that's even worse then.
That is
so you're telling me he's getting the same passes, he's just not catching them?
That is worse, to be fair, yeah. No, I mean, they have been, like we saw this last week, they were running it all over the place and stuff like that. But yeah, interesting. Trayvon hasn't really done his brother a solid there.
No.
Bijan Robinson, awful week, we know. Again, I feel a lot of sympathy for Bijan Robinson because you can see the talent. Tony Pollard, Brandon Ayuk, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, them guys sort of have like a good game, bad game, good game, bad game, really. Derrick Henry had a stinker.
Yeah.
An absolute stinker. Wow. Yeah, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, Travis Kelce as well. We were texting about this as it happened. There was a few very un-Kelce-like plays. There was one in the end zone, Mahomes threw it up, and it was a contested catch. And he just sort of, he can tell that there's a defender coming to, smash him in the face, and he sort of, he flinches a bit and then doesn't catch it. It was like, Travis Kelce would catch that and take the hit all day.
I don't get it though. I don't get what's different about this year.
Yeah, and then there was another play as well. Literally a couple of plays later, similar. It's thrown to him in the end zone, and instead of actually going up for the contested catch this time, he just flops and doesn't even try contesting the ball. Weird stuff. Zay Flowers, yeah, wow. Sorry. And Kadarius Toney should be treated like he treats any pass from Patrick Mahomes. Drop him. Drop him out of the team. That guy is, I'm at this point in his career, which is a short career granted, but the guy's mistakes far outweigh his sort of potential, really. We haven't really seen the potential. We have seen a lot of mistakes.
Just on Travis Kelce, I think it's time to start asking, is it over now? That's a Taylor Swift song. I just Googled it.
If it is, it'll be a cruel summer next summer.
You're losing me, mate.
Are these all Taylor Swift songs?
He's a bit of an anti-hero at the moment. He's not the man anymore. And I think he knows.
Okay.
If we've got any Taylor Swift fans listening, they'll love that.
I'm going to say I'm not the target audience for this one, but
Me neither, mate. I was reading from Spotify.
okay.
It was on the fly. I know it might have seemed rehearsed, but it was on the fly.
You delivered it so well.
Thank you.
Heading to the booth. Brandon Staley's on his way. He's on his way.
No one's going to give that guy a job. Why would you give him a job up there?
Yeah, true. But how did
they'd ask him like what did the defense do on that play or what, and he'd just keep going, stop asking that question. Yeah.
Like he was in the room. But how did our picks perform, Al? I will preface this was one of those weeks where I was joking.
I was joking for 3 of them.
I was also joking for 3 of them.
You weren't joking on Browning.
Browning.
Is his first name Jake?
Jake Browning.
Jake Browning. 18.96 fantasy points. I'm not going to be one of these guys that says like, the Bengals haven't missed a beat. Joe Burrow's better than Jake Browning. But Jake Browning, with those weapons, with that offense, he's going to be in position to score fantasy points every week.
I will throw it out there, like I said, I mean, not necessarily the yards after catch argument that I made, but I did say it would be on Higgins' chase to make the plays. Did we see the Higgins play? He made that play, sort of Browning just threw it up. Higgins made that play, sort of caught it, showed strength, reached over, got the touchdown.
Yeah, Swift, 9.5 for you. Miss. Frymouth at tight end was also a miss. Let me just flick over to mine dead quick. Stafford got similar points to your quote, like 18, but obviously higher projection, so it was just a nice game, but not a hit. Same with Warren, 11.8, and Tucker Kraft coming through.
Good pick.
Yes, lad. Get on the Kraft raft. 15.7. And then Sharps, me and Lou battled it out at the wide receiver position. As you know, we picked the 2 Ravens wide receivers. It was a real slugfest. Flowers with 17 and Odell with 24. Oh, I think I've missed a decimal place in both of those.
Yeah.
I did win. But Odell Beckham got 2.4.
No,
whereas
2.4
Flowers got
1.7. Oh my god! I mean, I didn't do much better, but yeah.
I was putting these into the spreadsheet, and I did mine on Monday, and I put, oh god, Odell. Yeah. And then I didn't bother looking at Lou's, and I'm like, well, I lost that one, didn't I? This afternoon, I come round to put in Lou's in. I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
Jordan Love, 17.46. You'll take it. It was okay. Montgomery as well, 10.2. Fine game, as was Tyler Conklin, 5.8. But then Tyler Lockett, just 5.1 in that game. Sharples is, in fairness to you, mate, it's your first time not picking Jordan Love on kind of an absolute heater of a week. So, and Tyler Lockett, we know how volatile he is. So we regroup, we go again.
Yeah,
that was a early April Fools.
I think I picked the only Detroit Lions player who wasn't a hit, by the way. Very annoying.
Yeah.
Just goes to show that Montgomery, though, he has got a nice flow.
Yeah.
He has got a nice flow. Just, if we're bringing it back to start-sit decisions
It's
this
marbled.
week, it's marbled.
Nice tiles.
Yeah. If we're bringing it back to
lovely flow.
start-sit decisions for listeners this week, and you need that flow, David Montgomery's got it there.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Let's reach into our stocking, though, and pick out a lump of coal. These are the lumps of coal. It's the injuries. Starting out with Keaton Mitchell, breakout rookie running back for the Ravens. He tore his ACL against the Jags. His season's over. This is getting really boring. By the way, I texted you two this. It's getting really boring. All these fantasy relevant players and good players getting injured. It's like there's no one to play on your fantasy teams. This is ridiculous at this point. I know we probably say this every single season, but I genuinely can't remember a season with this many notable long-term injuries to relevant players.
It's like our older brother made a pretty astute observation the other day. I know, I'm as surprised as you. He said these backup quarterbacks are getting people hurt. And that was directly after the Pittman hit. But, you had Jefferson last week taking the huge hit. Chase took a hit. These backup quarterbacks are getting people hurt. And if they're going to change the rules anywhere, it's going to be the quarterbacks. I know this had nothing to do with a quarterback, but, you can only solve one problem at a time, I suppose.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Keaton Mitchell, annoying guy who has a lot of juice.
He did. Again, so he's going to be dealing with that injury.
Pittman got up for his brother. I'm not just looking over Pittman's stuff now. He got up. He must be a really tough dude because he got up. He got kind of crunched in midair. The guy he took the hit from is being suspended for the rest of the season, and rightly so.
Yeah, obviously keep an eye on Pittman this week, though. Elsewhere, Jamar Chase left the Bengals-Vikings game early with a shoulder injury. He's considered day-to-day. Packers rookie wide receiver Jaden Reed also left the game with a toe injury. Hollywood Brown left the Cardinals game early with a heel injury, a bit of a lost season for Hollywood Brown, really. And Zach Wilson did suffer a concussion. He wasn't benched like everybody assumed, and why wouldn't you assume that? So, yeah, the quarterback carousel continues. And a little bit of news, this is really stupid and irrelevant, but it had to be put in here. Mason Rudolph named the Steelers starting quarterback for Week 16. After rolling with Mitch Trubisky, they're going to try Rudolph. Pickett is still out. So, yeah.
Listen, just on that, all the other reindeers, when Rudolph first came in, weren't happy with him. But obviously...
Oh, my God!
He did have a shiny red nose. He did lead the Maya, so maybe Mason can do the same. I'm amazed you didn't pick up on that, seeing as you've been looking for Christmas puns.
I know, yeah. That's what I'm thinking, man. Why didn't I pick up that? That is amazing. That is not a stupid bit of news. That is the most well-timed bit of news we've ever had on this show.
But it's like Tomlin said, we're not scoring enough points. So you put Mason Rudolph in. That's like saying... so you had a very reliable car, which was Kenny Pickett at the start of the season. That breaks down. You have to get a pretty old car, and it means that the car's so old and slow that it's getting you to work late, and you're saying, right, I'm not getting to work in time. We need to sort it out. And then the equivalent of this is just then not setting your alarm in the morning and not waking up or going to work at all.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we need to score more points, so we'll put Mason Rudolph in.
He's been... So, yeah, Mason Rudolph's in. He's been invited to the reindeer games. Yeah.
I just hope that Myles Garrett hasn't got anything to do with those reindeer games.
There'll be no holds barred.
Considering he got that
bad.
big ban, I bet he wishes that he'd have just made some clean connection and just really knocked his head off his
He
shoulder.
did.
It was all right. It wasn't. It wasn't.
He got a clean connection. I'm telling you, it's more about what's up there, or rather not up there, for Mason Rudolph, I would say.
Yeah. Moving on though, as it's the Christmas period, we did this last year. Going to do it again. Secret Santa, lads. I've compiled some information on 4 players.
Are you not going to read your joke out? Deck the holes. He skipped past his joke. I don't want us to miss this.
It's not a joke. I wrote down in my notes. I wrote down "Deck the Howls" in reference to Sam Howell about a month and a half ago, in the hope that I could relate it to something in this episode, and I haven't been able to. So, yeah.
Okay.
Deck the Howls.
Okay. I won't look at the screen.
The player names aren't on there, mate.
Okay.
Memorised. A wide receiver, running back, quarterback, and a tight end. Secret Santa. So the idea is these are Secret Santa. You've got to guess who it is. So first off, a wide receiver from the AFC, lads, right? Who he loves the festive period so much that he's really kicked on. Been imbued with the spirit of the holidays, you could say. So much so that since Thanksgiving in Week 11, he's led the league with 36 receptions, averaged 17.9 fantasy points per game, and he's ranked as the wide receiver 5 over that span. Who do you think this is? Who's the Secret Santa here? I'll give you both one guess. Remember, it's a podcast, so think out loud.
I know a player that's been getting 1 million targets, but I don't know whether he's. I've got a few names rattling around. Can I say the names out loud that I'm rattling around, and I'll pick one. Don't tell me they're right or wrong. I'm thinking Hopkins, Jacoby Myers, T. Higgins. I'm gonna go, and I think they're all wrong, but I'm gonna go Jacoby Myers.
Alex is going Jacoby Myers. Sharples, who do you think is the first Secret Santa?
You did say AFC, didn't you?
I said AFC.
I think just because I've seen his name a lot recently, I'm going to say Rashee Rice of the Chiefs.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Sharples is correct. The first Secret Santa is Rashee Rice. Since Thanksgiving, wide receiver 5, leading the league in receptions. He's coming on, honestly, he really is. Well done, Sharples. Yeah, point for you.
He's just past egg fried and he's catching sticky up real fast.
Secret Santa number 2. My voice cracked then. Okay. Secret Santa number 2. He's a running back from the NFC, and this Christmas, over the course of the season, is joint 4th in with all running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends with touchdowns scored. He's 4th in rushing yards and 8th in total fantasy points scored in terms of running backs. Who do you think this is? 8th in fantasy points scored running backs, 4th across running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends in total touchdowns. It's a pretty generous Secret Santa, this one, really.
I know he was, because he missed a few weeks, and he was in the top 10, and I think he's had a couple of good performances. NFC, I think it might be Karen Williams.
I think Karen has scored. I was thinking Karen and Rashad White, but I'm sure they are both. They are both. Do you say anywhere what running back rank they are?
Yeah, 8th.
I'm sure both Karen and Rashad White are higher than that.
I think White is. I thought that Karen would be higher if not injured, but yeah.
This is Kyron Williams you're talking about.
Yeah,
we're saying Karen.
Sorry. I just feel like, I mean, the point here would be that he missed so much time and he came back and he's still like this in all these categories, I suppose.
And he seems to get multiple touchdowns most games, that's why. But
I'm just going to think for one more second.
One. Think. Done. Come on.
And I think Right, I'm going to go Karen as well then, actually, because I was thinking of Alvin Kamara, but I actually think Alvin Kamara and Rashad White are above Karen, so I'm going to go Karen as well.
It's Karen Williams.
Yes.
Second in points per game in terms of running backs, 20.9. Yeah, absolutely right, Al. The fact that he is, still fourth among those skill position players in touchdowns scored, fourth in rushing yards. The guy missed a month.
Yeah.
Crazy. Really, really good. Moving on, Secret Santa number 3 is a quarterback. I'm not going to specify what conference. A quarterback who, since week 8, so over the second half of the season, has thrown 16 touchdowns with just 4 interceptions, on the way to averaging 18.2 fantasy points per game, the quarterback 6 since the midway point of the season.
This has got Matthew Stafford written all over it for me, Sharples. I don't know about you.
The name that immediately came to my head was Purdy, but I do like Stafford.
I'm going to go Stafford.
I'm going to say Purdy. First thing that came to me.
It's Baker Mayfield.
Whoa!
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield has been a very good quarterback in real life and for fantasy football for half of the season now. Yeah.
You're loving that.
I'm loving that.
Your best mate.
My best mate. He's going to be, an even better mate in a little bit because I'm going to talk about him in a little bit. The last Secret Santa that we have, it's a tight end. So, like last year's tight end, it was Mark Andrews, This Secret Santa, he knows how stingy the tight end position can be, so they've given you the best that they can offer, really, which is 11 points per game since week 8. So, again, the second half of the season, 11 points per game, which has ranked them as the tight end 9. Who do we think this tight end Secret Santa is?
Well, I know that Njoku has been making waves recently, as has Trey McBride. He's been going off in Arizona. I feel like they might be... I feel like Njoku might be higher than that, but it could definitely be McBride. Obviously, Likely has been playing really well also, but...
not enough games.
Not enough games. I mean, I'm leaning Trey McBride, and if it would be Trey McBride, then that points per game is just going to go up with how comfortable he's getting with Murray. Let me just have a think.
I think so. He's tight end 9 on the year.
Tight end 9 since week 8, so halfway through.
I think McBride would be higher than tight end 9 since week 8 because he seems to have put up a few 20.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm.
Komet?
It's going to be someone random, isn't it? It's going to be someone crap.
I'm trying to think who's come good. Has Kyle Pitts suddenly come good and I've not realised it?
He can't. No. Definitely not.
Can't be Waller. Evan Engram? Is he?
Engram should be higher than that.
Higher than that. He's had a couple
I'm gonna give you a time limit on this, lads.
Okay.
Right.
Let me just think for all the teams in the whole league.
Give me an answer in 10 seconds.
Okay.
Listeners are counting at home.
I'm taking Komet.
Oh, goodness me. I'll take Dalton Schultz.
I love... Now, this couldn't have worked out more perfectly, really, because I love how you are both thinking about this as a positive thing. I wrote this as a very negative thing.
It's not Kelce.
This is Travis Kelce.
What? Because we're thinking 11 points per game is pretty juicy at the time.
Yeah. And then when you say it was Travis Kelce, you're all of a sudden like, that is awful.
Yeah.
Wow.
The tight end 9 over the second half of the season,
Wowzers.
Travis Kelce. Yeah.
Didn't think outside of the box.
That worked out incredibly well, though, for the segment. Thank you very much. But let's move on to Christmas present.
No, it'll be Christmas future.
No, I've got Christmas future in a bit when Sharples talks about the games.
But we're talking about the games as well. Injuries would have been Christmas present.
Yeah, no, that's the lumps of coal. Come on.
Okay.
Moving on.
Alrighty, Roo. Ho, ho, ho. We'll start off looking forward to week Am I right? Is it week 15 that we're looking forward to?
We're looking forward to week 16.
We're looking forward to week 16.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is unbelievable. I can't quite believe it myself. And neither can our friend over here. We should really get a kind of Christmassy forget about it going. But we're going to start looking forward to the fantasy week ahead, the Christmas fantasy week, with our forget about it, of course.
Forget about it.
Players who are locked into your lineup, they're going to be very good this week. 100% endorsement from all of us on all of these players. At the quarterback position, Hurts, Allen, Lamar, Prescott, Purdy and Mahomes.
Forget about it.
Running back, McCaffrey, Karen, James Cook, Etienne, Kamara, Mostert, Mixon, Gibbs.
Forget about it.
Wide receiver, Tyreek if he plays, Lamb, Jefferson, AJ Brown, Debo, Amon-Ra, Allen, Diggs, Kupp, Nakua. I've got Chase and Pittman here as well, but just monitor the availability.
Forget about it.
And tight end, Hawkinson, Laporta, Kittle and Joku McBride. And I suppose if you want 11 points, you can put Kelsey in there.
Forget about it.
Cheers to Tommy DeVito's agent.
Cheers to Tommy DeVito's agent. Have a good Christmas right there. So those of you forget about it, so those are the guys that you're not changing whatsoever into our Christmas trio projection beaters, though. Players who think are going to outscore your ESPN fantasy projection by 4 or more. What do they have 4 of in that Christmas song? Turtle
French
doves.
hens.
French hens.
No, that's 3. 4 calling birds.
4 calling players that are going to outscore your ESPN fantasy projection by 4 or more calling birds.
We start with the running back, Al. The Christmas tree lights. As the analogy that we
all agreed on.
The analogy that we did last year. The Christmas tree of projection beaters starts with the running back. The Christmas tree lights. It's a nice base. Sometimes an offense can get by if this part of the tree is exceptional.
What earth are you talking about?
It's a Christmas tree of projection beaters.
Right.
So we'll start off with the
last year.
So
I did this last year.
Sharples, just listen.
I don't know if you're a present.
Just listen up, mate. We're going to start off with the running backs, the tree lights, a nice base.
You keep saying I don't see a connection.
What can't you get in your head about the running backs being the Christmas tree
surely
lights?
The base of the tree is the stump. Like
No, a nice... whatever.
He means like a base layer.
Yeah.
a base of decorations. Okay.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Because it's
So
just
do you
a
wanna
tree. It's just a tree, isn't it?
So do you want to go first, Lou? Now you're talking.
Yeah, I'm going to go James Conner, projected 13.6 points. James Conner, Arizona running back, hit a bit of a slump in the middle of the season. Obviously, he missed 4 games as well on injured reserve. But started the season hot. Looks like he's going to bookmark the season, finishing in great form as well. In Arizona's past 2 games, he's accumulated 194 scrimmage yards and 3 touchdowns. And that was against the Steelers and the 49ers, so not the easiest matchups either. And on the season, he's been fairly matchup proof as well. Either through just impressive play against difficult defenses or sheer volume. He's been averaging 16 touches a game on the season. So that bodes well for Conner this week as he plays one of the more surprisingly stout rush defenses in the league in Chicago. They're giving up very few rushing yards on the season, but they have allowed plenty of fantasy points to the position in the form of rushing touchdowns and receiving work. So I think Arizona's commitment to getting Conner involved, no matter the game script or the matchup, will result in fantasy success once again for James Conner.
I'm going to go running back for the Atlanta Falcons, Bijan Robinson.
Wow.
Projected 14.4, calling turtle hens versus Indianapolis. Okay, I get it. Arthur Smith is, and Lou in the edit, you might want to get ready to bleep some of this, is a complete, add the comedic bleepity bleeps. I feel as though it is possible that he had fantasy managers in mind when he gave Robinson 8 opportunities this past week against the worst team in the league. However, I'm not going to pretend Smith isn't a pet. Sorry. However, I'm going to pretend Smith isn't a petulant child, and I'm going to brush it off and ask you two a question. I'm going to pose you a question. So, Bijan Robinson, stud running back, unbelievable prospect, picked in the top 10 of the fantasy draft, who just had the best 4-game stretch in terms of production and usage of his young career, is against Indianapolis, who are giving up 25 fantasy points per game to the running back position and are ranked bottom 3. What projection do you think he's got this week? Pretend I didn't tell you.
I'm going to say, and pretend you didn't do that whole song.
Yeah.
14.4.
Yeah, I was weirdly thinking that, yeah.
I'm keeping this in. That is amazing. Whoa. 14.4?
I can't believe you've just done that, Al, to be fair.
That is almost as bad as Sharples doing the same. Was it the same? What did you do that time?
Did I pick the same tight end? Was
You
it
picked the same tight. The same tight end. Yeah. No. You also. You said the same
it was
stat.
Jared Goff. It was the Jared Goff. It was about the interceptions.
Oh God. I just went into autopilot mode up top and completely forgot that my actual argument relied on you not knowing the projection.
It's a Christmas episode. We're giving people laughs this week.
Get this.
Yeah.
It's projected 14.4.
Wow. Would not have guessed that.
I wouldn't have.
So you're playing Bijan Robinson this weekend. It's going to be absolutely fine. Sharps, who have you got?
I've gone for Aaron Jones, running back of the Green Bay Packers.
Yes, great play.
Projected 14-point partridge this week. And you say great player, but I'm a little bit worried. Obviously, he's got a projection of 14.1, but his average points on the year is 10.9, which is very Aaron Jones-like. But he's coming up against the Carolina Panthers, who are currently giving up the second most points to fantasy running backs, I think, behind the Colts. And there's a reason for that. They've got a terrible offense, they've got a terrible defense. Teams can score big on them and then run the ball. And as a running back, that should mean Aaron Jones gets a lot of the ball. But even if the Panthers do somehow put up a little bit of a fight, they do have sharp claws. He's also quite good at receiving. He's been averaging about 4 or 5 targets a game. And that should sort of pad his stats up a little bit. But realistically, I would like a breakout game from Aaron Jones. We saw it long ago in week 1 when we were all fresh-faced youngsters. He got 26.7 points, but still, since then, absolutely nowhere near it. He's been riddled by injury. I think this could be a get-right game for him. So, yeah, Aaron Jones, 14.1.
Nice.
Very good. Lou, what's next on this Christmas tree?
I feel like you weren't here last year, Sharples, when we did the Christmas episode, because this would make a lot more sense to you. Anyway, the wide receiver...
I was here and it doesn't make sense to me.
The wide receiver and the baubles on the tree, adding that, extra dynamic bit of flair to the tree. I'm going to go with Amari Cooper, projected 13-point turtle doves.
Okay.
He's added 13.2.
Yep, sorry.
The only one I know. Cooper, he's had an up and down season, which, to be fair, I don't think it's entirely his fault. You're going to be hard pressed to find a wide receiver who can remain consistent with as many different quarterbacks that Cooper has been catching passes from this year. But it appears as though Joe Flacco will be the quarterback for the Browns for the rest of the season, hopefully into the playoffs. And after 3 games, the veteran seems to be pretty beneficial for Cooper and the passing game as a whole. With Joe Flacco under centre, Cooper's averaging 9 targets a game, as well as putting up his 4th 100-plus yard game this past week. His fantasy numbers and yardage have increased week by week with Flacco, so they're obviously getting more in tune with each other. And this week they face a Texans team who have given up plenty of big games through the air this year. Over 300 yards to Zach Wilson 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I think they're beatable through the air if Zach Wilson threw 300 yards on them. This game, 2 teams pushing for the playoffs. It's going to be a competitive one, especially, hopefully, if CJ Stroud plays for the Texans. Should be a good one. I'm betting on Cooper strengthening that rapport with Flacco and, again, against an exploitable secondary, having a good game.
Nice. And I'm going to go wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, Jordan Addison, projected 12 drummers drumming, 0.1 partridge in a pear tree.
Is he projected 12.1?
Versus Denver. Now, lads, guess what he's projected. Well, Anyway, the Vikings. Nick Mullins at least looks competent enough to get people the ball. Addison had a nice 6 for 111 game this past weekend versus Cincinnati after a real down period. Now, this was heavily propped up by the 2 touchdowns, but clearly, as I just mentioned, Mullins knows the offense and he knows to get the ball to Jefferson and Addison. Jefferson is in your lineup no matter what. And I feel as though that upside that you get with Addison is just too tempting. There's too much value there to have like a flex or a wide receiver 3 that could beat your opponent's wide receiver 1. We've spoken about Detroit having a pearly paw.
They've got a pearly paw.
A pearly paw defense in general, and they seem to always be in shootouts, which is great for fantasy. So the Vikings are going to have to score if they want to win. They can still get in the playoffs, so give me Addison this week for another good game from this offense, hoping to basically just replicate what they did against Cincinnati. Chaps?
Yep, my wide receiver is also projected Drummer Point Partridge, 12.1. It's Devonta Smith, wide receiver of the Philadelphia Eagles. Currently, the Giants are giving up the 5th most points to fantasy wide receivers. I just think this is going to be a get-right game for the Eagles. Obviously, they're on a bit of a slump. I can imagine some of the big personalities in that locker room, your Jason Kelce's, your Brandon Graham's, will have been really getting on them. I think the Giants are a perfect opportunity to come back. I think a lot of pieces in the Eagles this week will be relative for fantasy, but Devonta Smith is projected 12.1 compared to AJ Brown's 17. So I think that the Devonta Smith pick is much more sensible. And aside from last week, where he only had 5 targets against Seattle, it's been 8, 11, and 10. So the volume's there. He's pretty much he's got a great floor. It's just whether he gets a touchdown that he becomes a hit. But I think it's more than feasible. So yeah, Devonta Smith in a get right week for the Eagles.
Nice. Where are we next, Lou?
Tight end. So that's the corny decoration, the rubbish decoration, maybe one that was gifted to you that you feel obliged to include on the tree, even though you really don't want it there. I'm going to go Tucker Craft, projected maids milking point calling birds. Anyone guess what that is?
8.3? 4? 8.4.
Okay.
Tucker Craft. Since fellow rookie Luke Musgrave has been out, Craft has served as the team's top tight end option, and he's been performing really well, to be fair. Tight end 8 since he took over the job in week 12, averaging 10.6. Sorry, not 10.6.
No.
Okay. He's averaging Lord's leaping point summit.
Lord's Point Geese.
Yeah. Feels as though he's being leaned on a bit more as well due to the injuries in the wide receiver room, which will still be the case this week. Christian Watson still dealing with a hamstring injury. Reed, dealing with a toe injury. We don't know if either of those guys are going to play this week, so expect Kraft to continue to be a consistent part of this passing game. I think he's a decent player regardless of the matchup this week.
Nice. I'm going to go tight end. Dalton Kincaid projected 9 ladies dancing at the Chargers, and just as I do this, Sleeper sends me a notification saying Dalton Kincaid has gone from healthy to questionable, so that's great. What are the chances of that? No. Fresh off the goose versus the Cowboys, in which James Cook and the Bills rushing game ran the offense, I'm expecting Kincaid to bounce back up to the 7 targets that he's been averaging all season. He plays the Chargers, who are truly dreadful, so I'm banking on Kincaid to produce like he did in weeks 7 to 10. He had a really good month there. And with this fantasy projection of 9, he should blow it out of the water. Ladies dancing, I'm hoping for some Kincaidies dancing.
Okay.
Sharps?
Right. So, initially I was going to go for Trey McBride. I didn't realise he was a forget about it. He was projected a hefty Drummers Point Geese. So I've pivoted away from that. I've gone for a guy who's been lighting up in the past couple of weeks. Hunter Henry. It's dangerous picking a Patriots player, but he's, I think, 2 19-point games in a row. So he's really coming into form at the right time. He's projected a slightly lower Maids Point French Hens, which is 8.3. And he's going up against Denver, who are currently giving up the most points to fantasy tight ends. He's going in with a questionable designation, so I'm a little bit worried. But yeah... in the 2 games that he's done really well, the first one was, you could say it was luck. He only got 3 targets, but he managed to pull in 2 touchdowns. But last week against Kansas City, 9 targets, 7 receptions, 66 yards and a touchdown. Probably shows he's becoming a bit more of a weapon in that offense. And yeah, with a tight end landscape that's hard to pick from, you sort of need to attack the opportunities when you get it. So Hunter Henry, 8.3 against the Broncos team that likes to give up points to the tight end.
Nice. And what is the quarterback, Luke?
It's the star on top of the tree, of course. The main event. That's where everybody's eyes are drawn to. Do you want to stop coughing when I'm about to do
Sorry.
Where everyone's eyes are drawn to. I'm going to go Baker Mayfield, as I alluded to before. Projected 16-point maids milking. Yeah, I laid it out in our Secret Santa segment. Mayfield, he's been really good second half of the season. Coming off a fantastic performance against the Packers this past week. Perfect passer rating, I believe. So he's rolling. So is this offense. Mike Evans, he's always going to be a factor. But Chris Godwin had his best game of the season this past week. Cade Otton, a really safe target when needed. And Rachaad White has blossomed into a really effective dual threat running back with plenty of receiving yards racked
Dual
up.
threat? Like he's going to rob somewhere?
No, I put dual.
Dual?
Dual.
Oh, right.
Dual.
Okay.
Dual threat.
What's your ice, gents?
Plenty of receiving yards racked up this season for Rachaad White. All of this seems to be coming into fruition at a great time for the Buccaneers, and specifically Mayfield as well. They're on a 3-game winning streak. A couple of those have come against fellow playoff contenders as well. As I mentioned, Mayfield has become a really nice start for your fantasy team. And my roundabout point is that I think that this is going to be the case for the rest of the season. I feel like he's going to be a good start for you if you need to start him in your fantasy playoffs. Never a scurrier word spoken.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel it's going to continue this week against the team whose secondary we've told you to target again and again this season to varying degrees of success. See this past week. The Jacksonville Jaguars, the Bucs, they should be able to move the ball on them, especially through the air. The Jags have given up the 4th most passing yards on the season. Only a few other teams have given up more, one of which is the Buccaneers. So this could turn into a fiery one. Plenty to play for here. 2 closely matched teams reflected in the over-under. Do you want to guess the over-under of this one?
What was in the total?
Sorry, the spread. The spread.
The spread.
Yeah.
I bet it's close. I bet it's only like... Is Lawrence playing or not?
Unclear at the minute.
I bet it's around about Jaguars minus 2.5.
Sharples?
I was going to say 3, so yeah, in that region, yeah.
Jaguars -1.
Oh,
very close game, and I understand that because I think the Buccaneers might win.
Yeah.
I feel like I want pieces in this one. Mayfield should be in for another good performance.
I'm going to go Justin Fields versus Arizona, projected drummers drumming, plus laws are leaping minus turtle doves.
See, now you should have asked us, what do you think he's projected?
What do you think he's projected?
15 point something?
It's a big old 20.
20?
It's 20 points. It's a big projection, and obviously we want to give you players in this section.
This is the boldest
that we think are going to outscore the projection by Henning for. But we need a big game from Fields this week, deep into the fantasy playoffs. Luckily, he plays Arizona. I say luckily because when Fields plays a bottom 10 fantasy defense, which he has 4 times this year, he's averaging 22.7 fantasy points per game versus the 14 fantasy points per game that he's averaging in those other 5 games that he's played this season that were against top half defenses. So basically, he beats up on bad teams. I think the Bears have surprised people by just how not awful they are. There seems to be some potential on this team, and Fields is playing for his career, be it in Chicago or somewhere else. It's hard to call Fields this year, but hopefully I've spotted a useful correlation here. Also, the Cardinals are either pretty much or the absolute worst rush defence in the league, depending on which stat you look at. So that if there was ever a time for Fields to bust out a big rushing game, it's going to be this week. So Fields to have a big one. Fingers crossed. Chaps?
I've gone for Jared Goff, projected 15-point French hens, 15.3 against Minnesota, who I actually thought they were worse on defense, but they're pretty much exactly middle of the pack. But I do kind of feel like, although Detroit are a better version, they are sort of two similar teams where they can sling it on the right day, and also they've not got great defenses, so it should be quite a high-scoring game, bit of a shootout. And those are the kind of matches that you want Jared Goff in. I'm not expecting him to roll up and did what he did last week. 5 touchdowns, 278 yards for 31 points. But I think this should be an open match, a quite high-scoring game. And, you know, I'd settle for 3 touchdowns and 300 yards. That'll be more than enough for a hit. And I think that's very, very feasible. I'm a little bit surprised he's got as low a projection as he does, to be fair. So, Jared Goff.
And now it's time to look to Christmas future, as Lewis says.
There we go. Thank you.
Beautiful.
With the tier list, a bit like a nice Christmas pudding with lots of... Do they have tiers in Christmas? No, they don't, do they?
I think it's a trifle, isn't it?
It's more like a Christmas trifle with lots of different tiers.
Yeah.
What are you thinking of?
Maybe like an advent calendar.
No.
Don't know.
Definitely not. Let's move on. Sharples, the tier list, please.
Yeah. So,
there's going to be a tier list in here because I'm going to be crying because of how badly his jokes are.
Well done.
Into the bad section. So I was going to say lumps of coals, but we've already used that. So this is the.
We have.
Can we just warn people? I apologise that we didn't warn people last week. There's a game on Saturday night.
There's a few, is there not?
There's a game on 9:30 on Saturday and 1 o'clock in the morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning. So, no, just 2 as opposed to the 3 last week. Just warning because we had a lot of people we know that didn't realise games were happening.
We had a lot of emails about it. We didn't.
But we did have a lot of people that were like, what the heck?
Carrying on?
Carry on. Carry on.
Okay. Into the bad category. This is your Lynx Africa box sets games.
Nice.
Jets,
lad.
Commanders, Broncos, Patriots. Only two. I'm being positive.
Okay.
It's Christmas.
Yeah.
Into the meh. This is let's see. I've actually been enjoying getting socks recently, like the wool socks. This is just a standard 5-pack of white and black socks. You've asked for them, you need them. It does the job. It's fine. So we've got Steelers, Bengals, Chargers, Bills, Bears, Cardinals, Panthers, Packers, Titans, Hawks, Falcons, Colts, and Eagles, Giants.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree with that. I think they're all plain socks.
Into the good. What have I asked for this year? So I would like to grow vegetables on my balcony. So I've asked for a book on how to grow vegetables. So for me, this is my good category this year.
Okay.
It's not a flat screen TV, but I'm looking forward to opening it. Texans, Browns.
If you get it.
If I get it. If
he brings it, all right.
Yeah, if my projections come good.
Yeah.
Texans, Browns, Vikings, Lions, Bucks, Jags, Rams, Saints, Chiefs, Raiders. Couple of maybe ones that I've gone a bit too optimistic on there, but didn't want to load it full of meh.
Okay, that's fine.
Meh humbug, some would say.
Shut up.
Into the great. This for me. This isn't about presents. This is the Christmas dinner itself. This is my mum's pigs in blankets or the turkey, the roast potatoes, just the food really in general. It's 49ers Ravens, it's Dolphins Cowboys.
Oh yeah. No, I won't be having any dolphin on my Christmas dinner, but suit yourself, Sharples.
Uncultured swine.
Yeah, I think we've hit it though.
Yeah.
Is that us?
That's the show.
Thank you very much for listening. Have a really, really good Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And we'll see you in between Christmas and New Year.
We will.
When I realise that some of you might already not be in your fantasy playoffs, but keep listening. Keep on going, keep on trucking, as we always say. As we say every week, keep on trucking. Yeah.
We did say that.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you very much for listening. Have a really good Christmas. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Merry Christmas, goodbye.
Happy holidays.